There are 11 people, 6 Democrats, running to replace Phil Murphy as governor of the Garden State. Congressman Josh Gottheimer is here to tell us why he thinks he should be the Democratic nominee. So tell me, why should you be the Democratic nominee?
Well, first, thanks for having me.
And why do you stand out from the pack?
For one clear reason. I'm the only one running who's focused on lower taxes and lower costs, right? And obviously, we all want to support and back Jersey values and stand up for reproductive freedom and clean air and clean water. But I'm the only one that's put out a tax cut plan for the state.
15%?
To lower property taxes by 15%.
How are you going to do that?
A middle-class income tax cut, a rental rebate, and if you're a senior and you turn 70 in the state of New Jersey, we're giving you a break, and it's all paid for.
Josh, where do you get the money?
So I know this is going to sound crazy, but we can actually run the government in Jersey a lot more efficiently. We have 564 towns in New Jersey. We literally do things like buy salt for the roads, often town by town. We buy our health care that way. We don't do anything, we don't buy Costco style, we buy local.
Very Trumpian.
No, we actually, because you know why? I actually want to keep the good stuff, but actually just run government better. What is Trump doing? Slash and burn and without any strategy. And what we need in New Jersey is actually common sense, being smart, actually, and I know you're not going to love this, but go after New York, sticks it to Jersey all the time. The congestion tax is just one thing. If you work in New Jersey at a desk in Jersey, but for a New York company, New York thinks they should take all the income tax, right? Like, it's ridiculous. There's things like that when you add them up, issue after issue, I can give people a tax cut, make their lives more affordable, help them with child care costs, which are out of control, second highest in the country.
How are you going to get to keep some of the tax money that New York says is theirs?
Because, like in every other state, for some reason, New York, when you work actually in the state, you get to keep it. New York, for some reason, forever has said to Jersey, we're keeping it. And by the way, I'm going to fight because...
How can you stop New York from keeping it?
We're just going to sue New York and actually people like other states have done and get the money for Jersey. And these are the kind of things we're going to do. We're actually going to stand up and fight. Just like, by the way, be very clear, when Trump messes with our families, like he's doing now, I'm going to be there fighting him. Like I've always, listen, you mess with Jersey families, I'm going to fight for you and do what's best for New Jersey. Help make people's lives more affordable in New Jersey. And that's always been my focus, as you know, Marcia. I've gotten it done. Issue after issue, getting the Gateway train tunnel built up, fixing our roads, child tax credit expanded. I helped get that done. We actually can do tough things. We just have to be willing to fight to get them done and solve problems.
So I want to digress for just a second from the Jersey race to talk to you about your other hat, your congressional office, and the fact that there's been sort of a scandal of sorts this past week with the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, sending out all the plans for how they were going to go after and attack the Houthis in Yemen. How is that acceptable, and why is he still in office?
I mean, it's saying it's unacceptable is like an understatement. I called for him to resign because I'm on the Intelligence Committee. The idea that you'd have the Secretary of Defense post in a chat literally the game plan for an attack against one of our key enemies, the Houthis, who are an adversary of the United States of America. But the fact that, while you have U.S. servicemen and women in harm's way in an attack, and show where they're going to be hours ahead of when the attack occurs and put their lives in danger is totally unacceptable. That's classified information. That should not be on a Signal chat, any kind of chat. And as someone, again, who's on the committee, there's a reason why we protect classified information. So you never want to put anyone's lives in danger, especially our servicemen. How do the people on
the committee think about it? Even the Republicans on the committee, are they willing to go and have a hearing and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe you should resign, or are they going to back him up?
Well, I think what you've seen is you haven't seen a lot of people out there defending their actions because it's indefensible, what the Secretary of Defense did. And I said they should all come and have to testify and understand how this happened, how we handle, and how we're careful about how we handle classified information. Listen, the most important thing we do in the intelligence community is protect our men and women who defend our freedoms. You never want to put their lives in danger, and the fact is this was just, he knows better, and he should never have done this, and it's why he's got to leave.
Should we be using Signal as a way to communicate with people in the agency and in the administration? We
have systems for handling classified information, and Signal is not. You don't put classified information over Signal, just like I won't talk to you about what I learned in the Intelligence Committee yesterday. I'm not going to put it on my chats, and I'm not going to talk about it in public.
So I want to get back to the New Jersey gubernatorial race. One of the things that's been a big perennial problem, I know you're Mr. Transit, is NJ Transit and the fact that it really is a terrible, terrible railroad. And I wonder why, given the fact that it's been so terrible and people complain about it. Why has nobody done anything about it to fix it? And what's the solution?
Well, listen, I think it's not a terrible railroad. It just needs the right investment.
But he has no, I mean,
and right now there's
talk to anybody who has to take it. They hate it.
Listen, I've been very clear about these summers of hell that we're having where people are stuck on the trains, and I've come out and said those people should all get their money back.
So
if you're stuck for hours, you're going to have to actually invest in new cars, in new technology. The problem is, well, the current governor just put forth a budget that to help address the car situation. He's put money aside for that. You either are going to make a decision. We're either going to have a transit system that works and get people to work and can get people around, or you're going to abandon it. We can't, as the great state of New Jersey, can't step aside from having a great transit system. So we're going to make it work for people so they can get to work on time. They can have a good experience. I'm not going to turn into the MTA here and what's happened with the subway system in New York, right? We're actually going to make sure that New Jersey Transit is great for people, can get them to work on time and see family and loved ones.
So Jack Ciattarelli, who you know is a Republican running for governor, was on this show a few weeks ago, and he suggested that you take all the transit organizations in New Jersey and put them under one roof, including the Garden State Parkway, the Thruway, the gas tax, and NJ Transit, and use all the money you get to fix NJ Transit. Is that an idea that could fly?
Well, I haven't seen his plan, but one thing I won't do is I'm not going to let our roads fall apart because we're not paying attention. You're going to have to.
So well, obviously it would all be the same thing, but you'd have this money.
Listen, what I'm for is anything, if there's something that's smarter and more efficient way to do it and can save money and help people, of course I'm going to look at whatever the plan is. But I'll tell you this, you got to invest in New Jersey Transit. We got to make sure people can get to work. It's why I helped write and pass and negotiate the infrastructure bill, which has gotten huge investment into our roads and bridges and mass transit, the Gateway train tunnel. We got to invest in infrastructure so people can get around. What's not okay by me, and that other people have talked about, is actually gutting these things and walking away. That's not okay, and so that's what I think we should do.
So you are Mr. Congestion Pricing. If there's anybody in New Jersey who's fought harder, I don't know of anybody. So what about the idea of charging a reverse congestion pricing fee? Anybody coming from New York has to pay to come into the Garden State.
So
bad idea?
Marcia, I want you to come to the Garden State and shop in our stores and eat in our restaurants, right? So I want to do everything. This is why there should be no congestion tax. We have the Port Authority, right? When you to go over into New Jersey and New York, you got to pay a fee, right? I think it's too much, but you got to pay to go over the bridge and through the tunnels. That is, in my opinion, what that's a toll that people are paying, and that's plenty. And I think it's too much. So the idea that we would charge anyone more and hurt hardworking people who are trying to get to work or going to try to see family is outrageous. The New York congestion tax, as you know, and we've been fighting this for years, and the good news is I could see on the horizon this thing's ending. The good, and you know, like we're days away.
So is going to make a deal with Donald Trump to get rid of congestion pricing?
I mean, it seems like the writing's on the wall that they've got fewer than 30 days left to get rid of this thing. The administration's been pretty clear about that and reinforced what we've said all along. This is nothing but picking the pockets of hardworking people who are trying to get by.
But the MTA needs that money to fix a system that's 120 years old and falling apart.
Then the MTA should do their job and start collecting fares from people. They lost $700 million last year to fare skippers. Half the people who ride, by their own studies, half the people who ride the buses in New York, don't even pay to ride. So why don't they start collecting the money to ride, invest in mass transit?
$700 million is a drop in the bucket.
But Jersey,
why
are you making people from Jersey, hard nurses and electricians and cops and firefighters, why are we making them pay for New York's complete mismanagement of the MTA? They should fix their own shop. John Leader keeps criticizing everybody else. He should look in the mirror, fix his own problems at the MTA, and get it done. Don't put more pollution into northern New Jersey and blame people in Jersey for their problems.
But is the MTA really that inefficient?
I mean, if you want to defend the MTA, go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you.
No,
I'm not a defender of anything.
By the way,
I'm just a question
I've studied the MTA, and given what the federal government invests in the MTA, what it costs to ride on the subway and the buses, and those if they were running a good ship, they would actually be able to pay for what they're doing. They blew $1 billion by building a stop on the Second Avenue subway by accident too big. $1 billion. Right? So if you ask me, you got to run things better. That's what I'm going to do in New Jersey when I'm governor. We're going to run stuff better and make sure that when we actually are smart about how we run the government, smart about how we run New Jersey Transit, and we're going to get more money back from the federal government because I think we don't get enough back, Jersey, and we're going to save people money, cut their taxes, lower their costs. We got to make life more affordable for people, Marcia, because people, all they say to me at diners is, I love Jersey like I do. I grew up there. I'm from Jersey. I love it there. I love the beaches and the lakes, love the whole thing. But they say, I can't afford to live here. It's too damn expensive. Can you help? They can't afford their property taxes, which are the highest in the country. We got to cut them, right? They can't afford utility bills, which are going up 20%. We got to lower them. So that's where I'm focused obsessively with making life more affordable for hardworking folks.
Okay, on that note, we have to leave it right there for now. But our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York. We are back with New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer. I want to talk to you about something else that's going on in Washington. On Thursday, President Trump signed an executive order that would rein in, I guess you would call it in his words, the Smithsonian Museum and Complex and also the National Zoo. He wants to rid it of improper, divisive, and American ideologue, and also is concerned about certain exhibits that they don't reflect what he feels is proper. How do you feel about that? He also, by the way, wants to bring back some of the statues that have been taken down, ordering the Secretary of the Interior to bring back statues to parks and federal parks and other places. So let's start with the fact that he wants to determine...
That he's anti-panda, right? He's
well,
anti-zoo.
I was going to ask if you think he's anti-panda, but...
Clearly. He's going after the zoo. I mean, listen, his whole strategy is just chaos, if you call it a strategy. And I'm for common sense. And he's, for all he does, Marcia, as you know, is just throw out these crazy things and go after things that many people care deeply about, like the Social Security offices, as I'm sure you're seeing. So the idea that he's going after the Smithsonian is absurd. I mean, it's an amazing institution, the Smithsonian. And by the way, millions of people come there every year to look at it. And the fact that he wants to shut it down or cut it and gut it like he's doing to everything is, of course, on message for him, but totally against what we should be doing. And he's doing this, though, to the FAA. He's doing it to, so as I said, Social Security. He's doing it to the NIH and cancer research. Everywhere you look, the guy's slashing and burning. And bringing back statues from the past that are going to make no sense if it's going to, as you know, parts of our history that we're not proud of showing off.
So specifically, he also looked at an exhibit at the American Art Museum titled The Shape of Power, Stories of Race in American Sculpture. He says, and I'm going to quote, that the exhibit, quote, claims that the United States has used race to establish and maintain systems of power, privilege, and disenfranchisement. And he added that the exhibit promotes the view that race is not a biological reality, but a social construct. Your reaction to that?
I mean, I haven't seen this exhibit, but my general reaction to his approach of the way he's doing things and the things he says and the people he's targeting are not only offensive, but are turning us back. It's like it's Women's History Month this month. And if you look at issue after issue, what he's doing to reproductive freedom, he's gutting protections to victims of domestic violence. Like, none of this stuff makes any sense to me. We've made great progress in this country. And the fact that he's just trying to turn back the clock on so much and just do it without any strategy of even thought or approach or discussion. I mean, I don't know. I don't get what he thinks he's getting from this. But obviously, I'm very proud of the Smithsonian, and as somebody who has fought for, we finally got a women's museum done, working with Carolyn Maloney, and that was bipartisan. Like these kind of things signal great progress in our country.
Would you call this a purge, or do you think it's proper?
I mean, I think in general, the way he's doing everything, the slashing and burning, chaotic approach, right? I think whether I don't know if what he's purging, but the fact that he took Jackie Robinson, he decided to take that, he ordered that to be taken off of a website, like by celebrating Jackie Robinson. That is not who we are as a country. That does not live up to our values. We should celebrate these things of our great history.
What kind of a message does it send that he wants to bring back some of these statues, like the Confederate generals and people like that were taken down?
I mean, bringing back Confederate generals, I think that was settled, that's not a good idea to have statues of Confederate generals. So what do I think? I mean, I don't understand what his approach and strategy is overall, except that he's trying to turn back the clock on progress. And he's doing that across the board without even thinking about what he's doing. It's chaos. It's stupidity. It's not common sense. I'm all for common sense. And by the way, you know this. I'm happy to work with anybody if it's good for Jersey families. But what he's doing is actually hurting our country. By the way, he's going after people, right? It's settling scores. And I don't get what it's about.
So I'd like to talk to you about some Jersey issues. You've proposed an idea to bring back paper bags to the supermarkets. What's with that?
I mean, you mentioned, so I go to diners all across the state and talk to people all the time. And one of the top things people bring up to me, believe it or not, is how annoyed they are. When you go to the grocery store in Jersey now, you can only get those reusable bags. You have to buy them. They're $1.50 to $5. They take, by the way, up to 500 years to decompose. A few years ago, they took away all paper and plastic bags. We should not bring plastic back. I'm a huge environmentalist. But paper recycles in 2 to 6 weeks. It costs 10 to 15 cents a bag. And you should give people the option to buy a paper bag, because people have, I don't know about you, but I've got all these reusable ones stacked up. I forget to bring them to the grocery store. They're all at home stacked up in the closet. And again, they take 500 years to go away, and they cost people a fortune. I'm all about getting costs down and being environmentally smart. You can do both. We should offer paper bags. And by the way, people love the fact that we're going to bring back paper bags.
So how do you feel about the fact that some people are proposing the idea of allowing people in New Jersey to pump their own gas? Good idea, bad idea?
This is like an ongoing debate forever, and if you can solve this one, that'd be great. I'd love to talk to people about this. It's interesting. I've not got a lot of people who have told me, they've come up to me lately and said they want to pump their own gas. People like the fact that they can help, and it creates jobs and helps people. So that's not something that's been brought up. But I'm all for common sense. If people, and I've said to people, and Marcia, I think you'll like this, I've said to people, like, send me your ideas. Right? Like, if you think there's something that's got to be fixed, it doesn't make sense, like the bags, send them to me. Let's just do common sense. Let's just do smart things. Like, these things are not partisan. Let's just make government smarter and better and more efficient for people so we can get costs down and help people.
But in New Jersey, you're also talking about trying to do economic development. One proposal is to build a stadium in Camden to try to attract the 76ers. Good idea, bad idea?
If we can make it work and get the team, I'm all for it. Listen,
So you want them to pre-agree to come?
Yeah, if they want to come to Jersey, listen, if the Knicks want to come to Jersey.
You want the Knicks too?
By the way, the Knicks, are going to need some time to get it, because they got to do a bunch of repair work at the Garden. Let's bring them to Jersey. They're very welcome there. I'm all for, I'd love to have a basketball team again in Jersey. My feeling is anything for economic development and jobs, right? So actually, in my plan, my tax cut plan, we actually offer incentives to bring jobs to Jersey. I'm going to run around the country, knock on doors and say, bring your jobs to Jersey. We've got the smartest workforce. It's an unbelievable place, safe communities that are beautiful. Love our cops and firefighters. It's a great place. Bring your jobs to Jersey, and we should give incentives for you to bring jobs to Jersey. And if you want to bring a team to Jersey, even better.
So what do you think is going to happen in Washington with the SALT tax?
I think we're going to get an increase. If we had won, we would have gotten the whole thing back. Now we're negotiating for how much. And
so in other words, there'll be a cap.
I co-chair I want it all back. I co-chair the SALT caucus. What do I think the other side will do? They're not going to necessarily give what I want, which is bring give people lower taxes, let them deduct everything. This will be the negotiation. That is what I believe we should do. We'll see what ultimately happens here.
What do you think the cap's going to be?
I don't know. I want it to all be back. So
that's not going to happen.
Listen, that's where I start from.
I mean, you're in the Common Sense Caucus.
The problem solvers, yeah.
Problem solvers. Caucus.
But we don't negotiate in public because it's not a great place to negotiate. But I'll tell you.
But you know that even when Mike Johnson was talking about this, Mike Johnson said that he didn't think he could get everybody in the caucus to agree to eliminate it totally. And let's face it, it would cost a lot of money to eliminate it totally.
Also, the red moocher states. Right, they don't want it. The red moocher states don't want to give it back to us, so we're fighting them. I think we'll win and get more back. I want it all back.
Well, the president did promise.
Yeah, I mean, after he screwed us, he now wants to give SALT back to us. So by the way, I'll take it.
Just to clear the record, doesn't the tax expire this year?
Yes, this year, at the end of the year, if we do nothing,
right,
the whole thing comes back.
So why don't you just do nothing?
By the way, if they want the whole thing to come back, I'm all for it, as you know. And so I'll do anything to give people a tax cut and make life more affordable for them. So listen, I'll tell you, we're having a lot of constructive conversations on this with both sides working together. You've got people in Democrats and Republicans in the area and from states like ours that want to bring it back. And we're going to keep working this thing until we get it back.
What do you want to do about the homeless problem in New Jersey?
the same thing we should do anywhere, which is make sure we take care of people. You know, we have a huge veterans homeless problem too, which is also breaks my heart. We've got to make sure we take care of people. We've got to make sure we help people in mental illness, which is, as you know, becoming even more and more of an issue. And we got to help people. And so what do I think? I think that if we live up to our values, which we should, you know, we look out for people and we try to make sure we have the resources there for them, which is, again, why just what the president's approach is in general, which is just to gut everything, including meals for school lunch and breakfast for hungry kids. Like, how do you do that, right? Like, I don't understand how anybody looks themselves in the mirror and does that.
But you're fighting against it.
Yeah, we're going to fight this every day, you know? And the bottom line is, Governor, we're going to help these people, because if he's not doing his job, like, we're going to take care of people because we don't leave people in the cold.
But see, here's the question that I have, and I think a lot of people in the metropolitan area have.
Yeah.
And that is, it doesn't seem right now that the Democratic Party has a cogent strategy for taking on Donald Trump. And the question is why?
Listen, I can just tell you, and I hear this too, I can just tell you what I believe the direction is, to be very clear about who we are as a party. And that's why I'm running for governor. Lower taxes, lower cost governor, right? Who is actually going to fight when Trump messes with families, or when anyone messes with families. If Governor Hochul does the congestion tax, we're going to stand up to her too. Because the bottom line is, we have to be very clear as a direction. We are the party of helping people who need help and getting the backs of hardworking people and middle-class folks.
But do people believe that, given the campaign?
Well, the way that this president's been running for the last couple months, yes. It's very clear. He might have campaigned one way, but now look at the way he's...
saying, I'm going to cut prices at the
Cut prices. Egg prices are way up. Utility prices are up. I don't know. So far, I don't know. Like, he said he was going to run to help lower costs for people. All I'm seeing, Marcia, is actually costs going up, the market going down, people's 401ks going down. They're more anxious than ever.
So what's the best way for Democrats to fight it?
To focus on making life more affordable for people, like I'm doing. That's the best way, and making it clear where we are. You know, you're not going to run around and chase everything he throws out, because half of what he says he just shoots from the hip on, right? We got to fight the things that have to fight, that we need to fight, and also do everything we can to remind people that we got their backs, that we're going to get costs down, that we care about getting food prices down and child care prices down and health care prices down, and utility bills down. That is what we've always fought for. And if you look at our policies and what we've supported and our record, it's clear. Look at what they're doing to seniors and Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and veterans. Just look at their record. There's no way they can claim they care about regular folks.
But here's the question. So I watch Democratic politician after Democratic politician, including Hakeem Jeffries, who, as you know, is the minority leader in the House.
Yep.
Having
Great
press
man.
conferences. In fact, they had one on Thursday to talk about the charges that the Republicans want to cut Social Security. And it's true that there's a belief that they're going to do it, but they haven't done it yet. And so my question to you is, how does that argument resonate with people who still get their Social Security check? It hasn't gone down, and so far they're still being able to collect it. So how do you make that? How do you make people understand that that's an argument that they should care about, because eventually it's going to affect them in the pocketbook? Because right now they say, okay, it's not affecting me.
So, Marcia, my phones are already ringing from seniors, because they're already messing with their staffing levels at closed offices.
Right.
They've messed with the phone lines at the call centers. So, and they're causing mass confusion. If you're a senior, 40% of seniors rely on Social Security as their primary income. Right? And they've paid into this. It's not a free giveaway. They've paid into this over years. So, and then suddenly they're trying to sign up for Social Security, or they have a problem with Social Security, and they're trying to get through, and they can't find anybody. And, you know, listen, I'm going to help them. I'm ready. They call me. I go to work for them right away. But that is being noticed by seniors, right? I was in a diner last week, and I sat down with a couple who, she had a problem with Social Security, can't get through to anybody, and saying, this is what's going to happen. Why are they treating me this way? And she said, and I voted for him. Right? And this is the way he's treating me. So I think it is going notice, and I think the chaos going after the FAA and cutting staff from the towers, right, when they need safe skies, all these things add up. And I think it's actually having an impact on them, which is why, by the way, he's making some of the decisions he's making right now.
But see, the argument that they make is this, that government is not efficient. The government spends too much money. It's like the argument that you make about the MTA, that the MTA is not efficient. And so when he says to people, government is not efficient and we can do more with less, that's an argument that that resonates with some people. So the question is, how do you prove that you need the things that he's trying to cut?
So there is a huge difference between being smarter and running smarter government, more efficient government, right? Which I'm all for, right? Less bureaucracy, less red tape, being smarter about how you buy stuff, like everything can be smarter. There's just between that and going and just randomly slashing, gutting, and what do you take, a chainsaw, Elon Musk? A chainsaw to government with no strategy. There's one thing is common sense, one thing is chaos, one thing's smart, one thing's stupid. And so I think people know the difference between just going in and firing a bunch of people from the Social Security Administration or the FAA or the people who study the storms or going after people who do cancer research. That is not, or at the VA and helping veterans. They didn't say, okay, is somebody there, is something we're doing there not necessary, right? That takes time, you study it. Versus just, okay, you're all gone. And then they panic and realize, oops, we fired the guy who oversees the nuclear program. We probably shouldn't have fired that guy. That's what's happening, right? And that's why they keep backpedaling. They make these mistakes and then they keep backing off of it because it's all chaos. It's not smart. And if you're running government smartly, like I'm going to do as governor, you make it smarter and better for people. You don't randomly cut stuff. You just run stuff smarter and better to help them even more and give them more. You can provide better health care, do better things if you're smart about how you do it.
So my last question is this.
Yeah.
So if Josh Gottheimer becomes governor of the state of New Jersey, what will change?
When Josh Gottheimer becomes governor of the state of New Jersey, people's lives are going to be more affordable. They will notice that their taxes go down. They will notice that actually the schools, which are great, will be even better. They will notice that childcare costs go down. We're going to actually make their lives more affordable, and they'll be able to afford to stay, retire, raise a family. I want people to be able to live in our great state and not say to me, I wish I could live here, I love it here, but I have to leave. That's going to be the big change. And by the way, there'll be no congestion tax, and New Jersey Transit's going to work well. We can do this all. You just have to be smart. You got to solve problems, and you need someone who's willing to fight and not afraid to shake things up a little bit.
Josh Gottheimer, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you at home for joining me as well.